round of applause to all the great speakers we just heard. Thank you all. I don't know why, I'm just a classics professor, but I was asked to give you all marching orders for the next step of your collab, the design collab. But I'm sort of philosophically oriented, so I'm going to give it a stab and take it for what it's worth. How to design? Well, this step of the process involves taking action, trying out specific ideas, experimenting with different points of view in order to create something new, something interesting, something that people want to use, to participate in, because it is fruitful in some way. The design of my Homer and rap project came out of this serendipity of studying the Iliad at the same time that I was encountering rap music for the first time, right when it started to have widespread popularity and generate a lot of buzz, both positive and negative. I heard it, I read about it, I really liked the funky beat, it moved me. This little insight of the similarities and differences opened up a whole treasure trove of interesting questions, observations, and allowed me to take an idea into the classroom that caught the students off guard. Who is this white lady talking about rap? Right? It allowed them to realize that they actually have a connection to this dusty old book some old fart is making them read because they think it is good for them. What was I doing? It was simple, really. I was comparing and contrasting. Ancient and modern, academic and pop culture, or should I say unpopular culture and popular culture. Actually, in the early days, the Iliad was popular culture. It was what folks listened to and performed for fun, for entertaining the masses. On the surface, I was comparing the seemingly difficult and remote with the seemingly easy and immediate. One of the best things that came out of this for me and my students, in addition to discovering this fascinating and pedagogically useful correlation, was that through a thoughtful consideration of gangster rap music, I noticed new ways to understand the Iliad itself, things that I had not read anywhere in the 2,500 years worth of scholarship on this poem. Scholars have been analyzing and interpreting this thing for so long, you would think there'd be nothing left to say. But something new, something interesting, something important was discovered, or perhaps I should say created, because the question was, how can this be made relevant and useful to my particular set of contemporary learners? So here's a list of the broader impact of this very particular specific comparison. This approach steps up the motivation to read and listen thoughtfully. We want that. It connects the students to the artistic and intellectual tradition, which is their tradition, whether they realize it or not. It helps them to see what they do know from a non-academic setting in a larger context of traditions and patterns. The lyrics of popular music, whatever genre, though short and simplistic, can be seen to echo moments in great literature that has more complex background and detail, and seeing this relationship connects what you hear and see every day to what is really powerful and mythic, yet representative of actual human experience. This approach gets them to think critically about their own contemporary world, and it helps students to practice going from the particular to the abstract. They grapple with big topics, big questions, conflict, justice, politics, sex and gender, race and racism, class, wealth, identity, community. They connect ideas, literature, and music to political realities, social realities. It enhances the student's ability to notice the power of language, rhetoric, art, music, performance. It provokes them to contemplate the murky force of the combination of music and word, music with word. Why is it so powerful? We feel it, we may not understand it, but let's try. All of this helps the student and the teacher to do something really important, develop language and paradigms for talking about the way things are, and develop a sensibility that allows for and assumes the evolution of that idea over time for both the students and the teacher. And you can abstract from the strategy of this particular project to other projects using the same principles. Say to the students, use what you know to think about what you don't know. The teacher levels the playing field, the learning field. The student knows things, has references, comes from a context that the teacher doesn't, and even if you or the student don't know much about rap, or don't like it, you probably have opinions about it. This idea of using students as authorities, including what they do know into your idea of what you want them to learn next, can be applied to all three of the levels our collabs are working on: the individual learner, the classroom and whole school, education in general. So here are my marching orders. If you haven't already, agree for the moment in your group on the articulation of what you are trying to do, the parameters of the problem you hope to solve. And perhaps take a moment to articulate the assumptions you all have, the subconscious ground rules you hold in your mind about what, as Ron in my group described as, what's the myth of what we can't do? What's the myth of what we can do? I like that. Then try this. Make yourselves come up with 3 different models for your design. This might be difficult, but it will force you to think more widely, fully. Run with the idea. I'm going to leave you with 2 quotes. The ancient Greek poet Sappho wrote, "If you are squeamish, don't prod the beach rubble." Don't be squeamish. Give yourself permission to explore, not knowing if you will discover anything interesting, or fearing that you'll discover something smelly, not knowing if you will come to a dead end, if you might change your mind. And I read another quote from Einstein recently that said something to the effect of course we don't know what we're doing. That's why they call it research. Go.